Hey everybody, Signa here with the OEC. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about paper trading. I see paper trades that are being posted with just some really ridiculous numbers, and we want to resolve this, right? I want to focus on this right away. First of all, I understand that on paper it seems a little bit like a video game, or that you can risk these crazy numbers and you can throw as many contracts as you need at the market to be able to come back into the green. But it's not about taking a trade and showing a profit at the end of the day. When I'm trading on paper, I'm working on a very specific thing. Maybe it's working on entries, or I'm working on identifying targets to get out of the trade. Maybe I'm focused on getting um, risk out or adding risk in, right? Maybe I want to add to a position. When I often I'll see a setup form and I'm just not quite sure that the trade is going to pan out. I won't start with all three contracts. I'll wait and get in with one. And then if it starts to prove itself, I will add into the trade with another contract. So, for an example, we had the lunchtime pullback. If you weren't trading the lunchtime thinking that you were going to look for an afternoon Busby, you missed this really great opportunity to get in at these lows. I would much rather get in at the lows than get in on a Busby, right? But one of the reasons that we focus on a lunchtime breakout is for that Busby, so that even the busiest of all of us can still come back in the afternoon, put it on our clock, and watch it unfold, and then take a trade. But for a more diligent trader who was already sitting there through the morning, you could have gotten in at these lows. Now, we don't know that it's going to be the low, right? When it first starts to unfold, all we know is the market starts pulling back. It's getting near 11 o'clock. It starts to run up from here and then comes back down and gives us a double bottom. Okay, this is a very small double bottom. It's almost not even worth calling it that. But after it does set this low, it starts to make a run. So the opportunity here to join in at the bottom is there. And you could be looking at this and saying, yeah, but there wasn't anything to lean on. There was no pivot here. I don't know that I would have taken a trade with all of my contracts. And I agree with you 100%. I don't think that I would have got in with all of my contracts. But once it started to prove that it was holding and it started to work its way back up, put it into context of the rest of the day and recognize, all right, suppose that we're going to call this lunch and the trend is dead. We're looking for the trend to maybe resume after lunch. What I know right now is that when a market does go into lunch, it stops what it was doing, which is this high, and it pulls back and it forms a range. So we weren't looking for this market to give us a rounded reversal on the day because we're in lunch, right? We're looking for a bottom on that thing. Part of the lunchtime homework hopefully allowed you to start recognizing the shape of what a lunch looks like and realize that we should not get a rounded reversal unless it breaks because of news. Since we can't see news, we set that idea completely aside and we say there will not be a rounded reversal until it proves us otherwise, right? So if we're not going to get a rounded reversal, where's the bottom of my range? It set a low, pulled up off of that low and came back and revisited the low and gave us a new low. And then it started to make its move. And you could be looking at that and think, man, you know what? I think we just defined our lunchtime range. There's my high, there's my low. Let me get in here and see if I can be in the trade when it breaks out at lunchtime at the end of lunch. So if you join in, say you get in on this pullback right here, this was a really great opportunity to get in. We'll call it 3046, right? It validates that it's going to hold. There's the Busby, right? And so it validates that it's going to hold. It comes down, gives you the Busby. There's your entry to get in. And you maybe just join in with one contract. And then it breaks to new highs. It breaks out of the lunch and it comes back and visits that. There's your opportunity to get with another contract. Okay. So by now you could be in with two, you could look for a third, and you could try looking at this with targets in mind to determine where you would get out. The idea though is that on paper you would be taking this trade with logic behind it, saying, all right, I'm going to work on my entries, or I'm going to work on adding to a position. I'm going to work on getting into a trade and holding it to a particular distance, like where it came up here and closed the gap from that Friday range. So you already had a target in mind, when to get out with most of your contracts to get risk out. These are the parts and pieces that you want to work on in your paper trade. I don't care, and you shouldn't either, that, oh, I got a green trade and I made 500 paper dollars. So what? What did you learn out of that trade? What value did it get? What were you working on? Just getting a green trade? Great. You did that. Now let's work on how you're going to get into the trade. How are you going to get out of the trade? What particular trade logic are you focused on? Pullback entries or resting orders, getting in on the run? Tell me you're working on some part of the trade and not just, well, I took a trade today and it turned out to be green. Okay, I'm happy that it turned out for you, but come on, guys. Use these paper trades to their value. Whether you were able to hang on and not puke out the trade when it turned really bad against you and you suffered huge heat before it finally turned around and went in your direction so you could get a little bit of profit, all that is doing is teaching you bad habits. So don't let that be your guiding light for your trade opportunities. Look at these trades, whether you're on paper or live, but we're talking paper here. Look at these trades as, how would I take a trade today, a responsible trade with some good trade entry logic, a target defined in my mind before I get in. If it starts to work and I'm right, where would I add to the trade? Where should I be nervous about getting risk out? What am I going to do if it takes a rejection here? What am I going to do if it breaks through and holds? How am I going to deal with this trade? And where am I going to exit the position? We want to know where we're getting out before we ever get in. You shouldn't be reactionary trading. When you pull the trigger to get in, you should not be hugging price with that stop and reacting to every tiny move in the market. That's the problem with being on these really small time frames, is it will make you puke up your position. So work on something in the trade. Don't just take these paper trades and show me that you're green afterwards. While it is important to take trades that are winning trades, we want to focus on what was the reason for the trade. Why did you get in at that spot? What was the logic that said, hey, this is a good time to get in, and I'm going to go down or I'm going to go up? Why? Was you right? If you were not right, why were you wrong? Don't just tell me, well, I had 3 losing trades today. Today was a bad day to trade. No, it wasn't. You failed to trade responsibly. You were wrong in every one of your assessments. You went up and it went down and you went up. Whatever it was that made you take losing trades, focus on that. Go back and look at the trades that you took today and look at the entries and ask yourself, when I got in this, what was I thinking? Why did I think it would go down? Why did I think it would go up? What could I have done instead of anticipating a trade to let it verify before I get in and take my trade? So guys, I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you at the next video.